Chopa's channel, just ours. We're gonna hit record. Welcome back, alchemists. This is Wealth Principle 32. We've been traveling through the 52 weeks to wealth for the last 3 years. Hands to camera if you've been with us for at least 3 years. Who's been here all the while? Awesome. What about 2 years? What about 2-year people? Awesome. 1 year. Who here is still just getting used to it? Less than a year, but they're loving it, having a blast. Awesome. Give yourselves a round of. The 52 weeks to wealth is designed to double your income and double your net worth. Normally, I'd be at my house and I'd have a stack of cash right here, and I'd be throwing money at your face, and I have my books. But today, I'm traveling. I'm in Boston this week because I went to see a concert last night. Because the point is not to work, it's to generate income, which is what Wealth Principle 32 is. We've been traveling through the Wealth Principle. This is season 3. Wealth Principle 32 is the point. It's not to work, it's to generate income. This is such a powerful point that I made a shirt out of it. And it's not just one of the shirts. I've got dozens of shirts that we've created over the years. This is the best shirt. This is the one that when I'm walking in the mall, or I'm walking in the airport, I'm walking on the waterfront of Tampa Bay, this is the shirt that gets the most attention. Now, I've experimented with this. Doreena's been there with me. We have the 100 Millionaires shirt on Deeds. The names on Deeds is great when I'm in a real estate event, but this shirt, anywhere I go, people are interested because they see the big words: generate income, generate income. Hands can if you want to generate income, if that's the goal. Double your income here. Awesome. Hands can if you want to do it with less work. Excellent. So I won't have a PowerPoint today. I won't have really sexy slides. What I'm going to do is just go raw with the data on how to do this and how to generate income. If you haven't already read the book, Broke to a Quarter Million, then you're going to want to read the book. I've had complaints about this book. People tell me, oh, the book doesn't show a tactical step-by-step process on how to become a millionaire, which was not the point. The book is supposed to show you a process to become somebody who has $250,000. Because most people can't grasp the concept of $1 million if they've never made 100, if they've never had a 50,000 sitting in the bank. Getting that first 100,000 is super important. Getting that $250,000, pretty much, who here knows once you got $250,000, like, you could just roll that. That's got to build some momentum for you, right? That $250,000 makes it a lot easier to roll. And the million is not too far away. In fact, if you're just doubling every year, which is what this community tends to do and aims at doing, if you're doubling every year, you're 2 years away from $1 million. If you've got $250,000 stacked up. Hence, if you're doing that math already, you see it. $250,000 becomes $500,000, $500,000 becomes $1 million. It's like, wow, it was easy. But that first $250,000 is what this book was all about. Now, you're not going to go in there and find checklists. Interesting. Because Napoleon Hill doesn't provide checklists in his book either. What you are going to find is stories. And one of the stories is about one of the keys. And that key is listening. Who here has ever thought they were listening and discovered they were not listening? Has anybody ever had one of those moments where you thought you heard something, but then the information you received and the actions you took were the wrong actions because you misinterpreted? So listening goes beyond just hearing. It's understanding, actually having a grasp on what you're hearing, because we've heard all of the keys to success. Who here knows that somebody has dropped all of the information that I've given you over the last couple of years? Somebody's dropped that to you before. None of it's new, right? We've heard this, but we've misinterpreted it. The meaning of hard work, I discussed in Broke to a Quarter Million. I talk about the meaning of hard work, what it truly is. Because people say you got to be a hard worker to be successful. Who's heard this before? You got to work hard to get rich. You got to put in the grind, work hard. What I found is that if you're sweeping a broom in a warehouse and you're sweeping with all your might and you're putting all the effort, because I was there in the warehouse sweeping the broom, and my manager, all he wanted was the dock cleared of a pallet, one pallet off the dock, off the truck, and put it away where it belongs. He put that on the list with sweep and then thing off dock, wrong order. I did not understand the priorities at the time. And so I worked hard. I spent 4 hours sweeping the whole entire warehouse, and it takes 30 minutes to sweep the warehouse, but I want to do an extra good job because he only put 2 things on my list. Now he walks in 20 minutes before my shift is over, and that pallet is still on the dock, and now he's concerned that it's not going to get done. And he has a conversation with me. He says, hey, look, this, I gave you 2 things, this was the most important one. And I, trying to be a smart ass, or trying to, like, literally not knowing, I was like, yeah, but you put it as the second thing on the list. And he said, yeah, because it was the bigger task. It was the thing that I knew was going to take more time. And so I said, get the little one out of the way and then go after the big one. Whereas what you did is you worked really hard on the little one and didn't leave yourself enough time to do the big task. Can't if you've ever been there before. You can relate to this story. You might be able to relate to it better than you think. Right now, if you're not already a millionaire, there's a good chance that you've been working on tasks that feel important. Perceived value has been put on these tasks because everybody else is doing them. Everybody else is focused on doing these tasks. But in truth, the task that'll get you to the next level might not be, certainly is not what everybody else is doing. The task that gets you to the next level is something that you would never have to do again. It's an asset acquisition. Is an asset either being built or acquired or paid for, but in some way, an asset is being brought over to your side of the table, of the equation. Hence, Karen, if you can grasp that assets, things that do things without you doing them, is what we're seeking right now. Most people do not seek assets. Most people seek a single paycheck, one form of income that comes from one person called a boss, and that's it. Whereas entrepreneurs, we've diversified the amount of streams of income we're coming from. We don't have one boss, we have many bosses. We have our clients, right? Our clients is our form of people we want to serve and get to the next level. So when you're thinking about what you're doing every day, we want to hit it with that 80-20 principle. Is this going to lead me to the result that I'm seeking? Is this task that I'm doing right now, is this big enough chunk of time? Is this going to lead me to my result? Does this generate income? If it does not, it's not, if not generate income generating task, then it's not something you want to be working on, especially if income is the goal. Hence, care if income is the goal. I just want to make sure that talking about money is okay in this call. Because I know we every so often I'll get a poor person will make a message on Facebook. Who's seen some of those recently? I made a post about being broke, and people were like, "Oh my God, you're evil. You're the devil. Like, why would you want people to be so focused on money?" It's not. I don't want everybody focused on money. I just want the people who don't have money focused on getting some money, right? And the people who already have a good base of money, I want you focused on getting a little bit more. And then once you've got a little more, I want you to automate it so you can go back to doing the things you're supposed to be doing. Now, here's the deal: you don't get to drop your family, right? Like Amy's, got her daughter right there. You hold the baby, right? Like, you don't stop doing the things you're doing. You don't stop being a great father, a great mother, a great husband, a great wife. You don't stop those things. What you do is improve while doing them very well, right? You get more efficient with the time. There are people who spend 4 hours just watching their child watch TV. Has anybody seen that before? Can imagine what I'm talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Seen that. And then there are people who set the child to watch the TV, get some work done, and then come over and teach their child or read the book to their child and teach that child how to make the A sound, right? Who's done that? Who's spent some time with their little ones, teaching them something, an asset that they'll have for life? Sounds, words, absolutely. Those things they remember. They do not remember the episode they watched with you of Barney or SpongeBob or Blue's Clues. What they remember are the things you taught them. And I was having this conversation with my dad yesterday, as Darina was sharing things my father has taught me because I've said them to her. We were talking about food. It was, food is a fuel. My dad used to always say this to me: food is fuel. It's not there to taste good, right? Because we grew up in a broke house. We didn't have, I didn't always get to eat the things I wanted to eat. So he said, food is just for fuel. You eat what you're supposed to eat. You don't eat more than you're supposed to, and you don't eat less than you're supposed to, and you'll always have a healthy body. As long as you put good things into your body, you're gonna have a good, healthy body. And that stayed with me. And I've always used that. And that's I maintain my weight that way. I maintain my health, my energy that way. But I studied what is good to put in your body. And then my father also said something super unique, super interesting. I think you've heard before. I think the coaches say it often, is that what you put into your mind is just as important as what you put into your body. The thoughts that you allow into your body, into your person, into your mind, that is more important because it's what's going to come out of you, right? It's going to be what motivates you, what energizes you. So this principle, we're going to do 4 actions today. We're going to do a experience together, because we do this every single week. Because if we're doing action, we take action, then we get results. Right? Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings are a form of energy in motion, right? Emotions, energy in motion. Feelings lead to actions. Actions lead to results. It's the process of manifestation. So today we're going to do an action. We're going to write down some things. You can grab a piece of paper, put your name at the top, put the date, because I love having a date on my homework. That way I know there is a time delay on this. Just like in the recession proof challenge, everything gets done that day. 24 hours. But if I were you, I'd just say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That way you get it done faster. Once your name and date are at the top of this piece of paper, write down 1, 2, 3, 4 in consecutive numbers. We give space, one space for each one. The first one is income generating activities. What are activities that generate income? First I can think of human contact. Anything that involves human contact. Now, especially if that human contact is somebody who's likely to have a problem that you solve. Who here solves a problem? Anybody solve problems for other people yet? Entrepreneurs? Awesome. Definition of entrepreneur is somebody who solves a problem for a profit. So income generating activities could be texting someone. It could be calling somebody. It could be meeting up for lunch with a client, right? Talking about business, doing a social media post in a group that draws in people into your business. These are income generating activities. Now, building that group is not an income generating activity. It's still something that has to get done. That's an asset. Does that make sense? That's one of the 80-20. That's an asset. That's something that you would have to acquire. Every day, you must do something that acquires an asset. Every day, you must build an asset. But that asset will not generate income unless you have something to start the motor, to prime the pump. Does that make sense? You've seen a pump before. You've seen like a big machine. Without pushing the ignite button, nothing happens. But once that gasoline's in there, once the machine's all put together and you push that button, it starts generating. So your income generating tasks are things that you want to automate first. They're things that you want to automate well. You want to build out how to generate income, and then you want to scale out. You want to get that more and more and more. So your lead generation, you're building relationships with clients. This is why we focus so heavily in Alchemist Connect when we're talking about the recession proof challenge on reaching out and automating the conversations to reach out, first contact, right? Who here gets a little bit of anxiety around, hey, how are you? Texting a stranger you've never met before, hey, how are you? Does anybody get a little anxiety around that? Seeing that, can you imagine how somebody would? Those are the things we automate. If there's an emotional blockage, then that means it's going to stop everything else down the road, right? The action part, the result part. So we get rid of the emotional blocks using a CRM. Alchemist Connect happens to be the one that we use, and you get a first text. Now the responses are us. That's me. It's my team. It's Amy. It's Dorina. It's Feli. It's anybody who's sitting in front of the computer at that time. That's the team. That's actually us. But the first contact is emotional. That first contact is generating income. And scam for catching this is automated, right? The point is not to work, it's to generate income. Remember, we're automating everything. Number two. So for number one, write down something, your one thing that generates income, your best income generating activity. Is it text? For me, it's always been text. Who here has received a text from me, right? You've all dozens of texts, right? Over the years, it's my form of communication. Maybe it's because I'm a millennial. Maybe it's because I can talk to more people that way faster. I'm not sure why, but I also noticed that my community is okay with texting. When I was focused on older people, when I was focused on motivated sellers, calling had to be my option because they didn't text. We're catching this? So it was slightly different. Now, this is 8 years later. Now everybody texts. Even the older folks, they've got those cell phones and they figured out how to do it. They speak to text. Figured it out. Number two, 80-20 and action steps. So 80-20. What is working? I'll do more of that. What is it that is not working in my time? Like look at your time and scrutinize it. Does it generate income? Money. Right? That's how I value my now. It's really great about that I spent. I'm scared if this is making sense. Now I cut out. Did I get missed? Anything get missed on that one? Share with me what you heard.
So the last 10 seconds probably were gone.
So your last 10 seconds and my last seconds are, they might be different. What did you hear last? So I want to get this point across.
The last thing is, look at how you are using your time. Does it generate income?
Awesome. Let's give Deborah a big round of applause. Thank you. Generating income. I spend focused on my business, on growing my business. 4 of the other hours, like 12 hours, say you're awake for 16 hours, you get 24 hours a day, 8 hours of sleeping. 4 of those, you're actually enjoying the other 8. Do something to motivate yourself to go do that other 8, right? So I spent 8 hours changing the world, impacting, 4 hours enjoying myself, being excited, and another 4 research, right? Research, development, you know, an asset, improve what we're doing. I recognize the service is not the best, but it is a challenge. So service connection. Awesome. Appreciate it. Number 2 is 80-20. Cut out things. Clients or interaction face-to-face, that contact, webinars, anything facing your clients. Number 3. So write something down, just one. You don't get to pick all of them, just one 80-20 that you're going to attack right now. Number 3, how do I get a raise today? How do I get a raise today? That question, yep. So the cutting out is going in and out. I'll do my best to say this as quickly as I possibly can so that while the service is here, we're taking action on it. How do I get a raise today? Write it down. One way to get a raise is to install a new partnership. It could be bringing in a new stream of income. It could be a new connection with more leads that comes in no matter what. Now, remember, a raise is something that no matter what, it's consistent, right? You've never had a boss go and take money back after they've given you a raise. And if you recognize a raise is permanent, it's there forever. So for us in the real estate space, we go and we get more tenants, right? That's a raise. I just acquire more units, that gives me a raise. Or I can raise my rent. That also gives me a raise. Or I can decrease one of the expenses of one of my buildings. That would also equate to me getting more money in. This making sense? We're catching how raises work? Some of the other avenues. I can do a flip. If I add doing a flip per year into my system, that's a raise. Every year, as long as I'm consistent with doing one flip, that's a raise I see throughout the rest of the year. So write down on number 3, what is the one raise that you go after, the most easy raise that you go after today? What is one raise you go after today? Something that's going to generate income beyond for a long period of time. Number 4, report to you, your spouse, partners. When you think listening, stop. Listen. When I say think, you're listening. Now repeat 4. You got it. So number 4 is when you think you're listening, stop and listening. Let me see. So since I'm breaking up, I'm going to ask Dorina if she can talk a little bit about the 100 Millionaires Summit if she's not breaking up.
I can hear you a little bit.
Josh, you hear me good, right?
Yeah, right now we can hear you.
All right, cool. Number 4, write this down. When you think you're listening, stop and listen. And what that means is, yeah, it is being recorded. Thank you, Eric. Absolutely true, bro. Stop and listen, because and when I say think you're listening, what I'm talking about is a person can be sitting there telling you stuff, but you're not getting it, right? Like they're getting frustrated and they're saying the words to you, hey, listen to what I'm saying. And when you, I am listening, that's the trigger right there. They might not be listening as hard as you think you are. Hands can if you know what I'm talking about now. Like that space of listen a little deeper. Excellent. So write down a time that you could use some skill around that listening a little bit better. Doug McGurk, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent, brother. So the week is Broke to a Quarter Million. Hint scare if you've read that book. Anybody on the call read that book? And Doug, since my internet is not rocking that great, I'm going to make you the actual host. Is that cool?
Mhm.
Excellent, brother. You and now the host. And if you could just make me the co-host, that way I still have some powers.
Boomski.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, who here has read Broke to a Quarter Million? The book, Broke to a Quarter Million? Let's get somebody to give a review for it. Awesome. Doug, I'm gonna have to log out. Do you mind taking the rest of this? Do a Q&A session?
Sure.
Awesome. Appreciate you, brother.
You got it. All right. So welcome, everyone. Darina, you going to do the review?
I can do the review.
Yeah.
I read it 3 times, so I think I know what the book is about. So, Broke to a Quarter Million, obviously the name speaks for itself. It's a story about a person who was mentally broke, who was defeated, who was thinking that the life is over, taking over the decision of making something important out of him. And it's a story about someone growing up poor, kind of with the dreams and aspirations, and not knowing how to get it, figuring out the way how to get the good life and share it with others. So in this book, you will find like a true life story where Walter Amorella is getting his first house, trying to be a good husband, unfortunately getting through divorce. And then, like the rock bottom, it was real for him. He was worth less than he was born with. He was in huge debt. He was defeated more mentally and financially. And there was a moment in his life where he describes it very well, where really he was speaking to God and asking for, like, hey, please show me the way, and if I can find the way to get out of it and become successful, I will promise to teach others how to do it. And it was just like a light bulb that he could own real estate, he could own the blog, and he was going after it. And after he did it, what is he doing now? He's teaching us to do the same. And it's a very quick, a very 2-hour, 3-hour book that will inspire you to get out of your mental situation if you're struggling and go after your dream, because it's possible. If it was possible for him, it's possible for you. And it's on Audible too. So go read it. If you didn't read it, or if you read it, do it again.
Let's give Darina a big round of applause. Book of the week. I'm a little biased, but I like the author. You did some good work.
I like the author too. He's good.
Well, we hear
So
you
go
loud
read
and
it.
Take it
clear,
away, brother.
Walter. Well, we can hear you loud and clear.
It's because I've changed location.
Yeah.
Awesome. So 52 weeks of wealth. Our goal is to double your income, double your net worth. The reason we do it is because at some point we didn't have it. So if you haven't read the book, go listen to it. In fact, if you haven't listened to it, if you're a reader, hand scam if you read the book and didn't listen to the audio. Is there anybody? You're going to want to go and listen to the audio. There is an entire extra chapter in the audio version, a chapter that I intend to add next year in our revised version of the physical book, because I got a lot of feedback over the years before I did the audio. And people said, hey, what are the foundational 5? Who noticed that I didn't put the foundational 5 in the book, but I talked about them? Did anybody notice that? So the foundational 5 books, I put that in the audio, and I went on for about 18 minutes. I answered a lot of the questions that I've been getting over the years. So if you haven't listened to the audio, go check it out. It's really good. I do it myself. I do speak in the audio for 6 hours. It took me to record it, but it's only a 2.5-hour audio. And Scam, if you know, sometimes you got to edit things, trim it down a little bit, do things twice. Absolutely. So we want to open it up to questions, comments, shares. The 100 Millionaires Summit is getting closer. We're 41 days away. Last night, Doreen and I went to a concert called, it was Rammstein. And in that concert, man, Doreen cried. She shed tears over how intense the emotions are, you know, when you're seeing thousands of people moving in a certain way, feeling a certain way. And the energy of Rammstein, I would say, it's about, you know, as interesting as it is, as like weird as their music is, the energy really is about independence. You know, it's interdependence, working with others to get things done. But it's the whole concept of, you know, Germany going out and surviving past, you know, Hitler, like rebranding itself after this terrible act and this terrible leader. They kind of embody that mission of, you know, we're actually still decent people. Like, you know, we're Germans. We drink beer warm, and we have we do like our metal. We do like fire, and so they're, you know, working on the rebrand. But that kind of almost like, hey, our country made a mistake, but we're, you know, we're still nice people, is kind of their message and their mission. So, you know, whatever moves you. It happened to be us at a concert last night, totally moved us. And so we want to take some of those elements to the 100 Millionaires Summit this year. There will be, as legal as we can get, fire in the event. There'll be cold sparks, because you can't do hot sparks. Mitch Durfee might touch the sparks. He might go out there and you know, put his hands in it. And if he does it, we all might do it. So we got Mitch is on the call. Before we bring Mitch in, Doug, can you share a little bit about what we're doing at the 100 Millionaires Summit this year? What makes it so unique, and why you specifically, what your skills are, so that everybody understands like just how much fun we're actually going to have and what we're actually going to be doing there?
Well, you know, it's so interesting you bring up the concert. That's what makes events like legendary, is that to create that emotion, to create that synergy, and that is what we bring to events. Also, having my first career being in the entertainment industry and music, I understand how to bring that to the experience and set the tone so we can all play in that level. So it's not just about the people on stage, it's about the people in the audience, that they are participating and enrolled and engaged, rather than just being passive participants, just like, okay, I'm going to listen and take some notes and that'll be that. No, we're going to make it experiential so that it gets in your nervous system. And some of you may or may not know, also after working in the music industry, I went on the road with Tony Robbins for about 4 years, and I'm trained by Tony. And so we're going to be bringing elements that what makes Tony such a great speaker, since I'm trained by Tony and all the people that trained Tony, we're going to infuse that into the 100 Millionaire Summit. And we promise that you will not only have incredible breakthroughs, make incredible connections, you will set a new standard of propulsion and momentum to your career.
Let's give Doug McGurk a big round of applause. Couldn't do this event without him. Doug's energy is so intense. Who's already feeling that? Who already understands and knows Doug's got some crazy, like, good energy? It's not just about his energy. He's got amazing skills with helping you leverage your energy. Remember how I started this call? Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions. Actions lead to results. Without feelings, without a burning desire, a passion around what you're doing, all of the knowledge you receive is useless. You must have a reason to do things, and Doug's going to help you tap deeper into that emotion. When we talk about building millionaires, I was joking around with my dad on the way back from Boston yesterday. We were saying, man, like I want to automate building millionaires. And my dad jokingly said, yeah, I don't think it's really possible, right? Because it takes like somebody who has to have like an actual motivation. They have to have a drive, is what he said. And I told him, I was like, you're right. Like, that's what we're focused on getting, because we wrote the books, we did the blogs, we put the information out there. We said, hey, here's how you get rich. Nothing happened, right? Who here knows? The information's been out there for years. It's everywhere. It's all over the internet. We're in the information age. If you can't figure out how to get rich, it's not the figuring out that's the problem. It's the drive. It's the motivation. It's that energy. It's that heart to get you out of bed to go and do the things that you don't want to do. Who's noticed that's the challenge, right? Like, you know the right steps, you know the right things. We've been sharing that, but getting people to do those right things means they must have drive, they must have motivation, they must have a reason, a purpose, a passion. And I see some of you got your kids on the camera right now. That in a lot of ways can be your purpose, your passion, your drive, the reason you get up out of bed. And finding that is what Doug is going to do with us at the 100 Millionaires Summit. He's going to help you tap deeper into it. Who here already knows they're motivated, already knows they're charged up, they're lit up. We're going to figure out how far that charge can go, how much we can open that valve just a little bit more. Who knows, if you're already a massive flame, just a little tweak means an even bigger fire. Who's catching this? So those of you who already feel passion, already feel energetic, already know you're pushing it to the next level, we're going to unlock so much more potential out of you. And for those of you who are like, yeah, I've got the gas turned off, right? It's completely off. We're going to break the seal. We're going to break the valve, break the seal, turn it up, and get it so you can start cranking without having that restrictor on anymore. So let's give Doug one big round of applause. I appreciate and love everything that he does for this community. Just fantastic to have a magician, an alchemist on stage with us. Speaking of alchemists, speaking of people who transform others and transform their negative situation into a positive situation, transform somebody out of a place of competition and move them into a place of creation, being able to create opportunities for others, transferring people from a place of lack to a place of abundance. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, the great Mitch Durfee on the call with us. Let's give Mitch Durfee a big round of applause. He wrote the book Serve to Win. He's written multiple books, he's multiple best-selling author. He now helps other authors in Jen's pen go to best-selling author. So just a powerful resource there. He's also building FBA stores, Amazon stores, Walmart stores, online investments. He's got multiple units in real estate. He does syndication deals. My God, the list is so long. The great Mitch Durfee. Let's bring him on.
Wow, man, it's quite the introduction, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I missed so many things, Mitch. I had to stop the list at some point.
I got to get focused on one thing really, right? And all those things are different ventures and different vehicles, right? They say the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. I definitely like to have at least that, just keeping cash flowing, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this event. As you know, like last year was amazing especially like when you check in with the people that came to the last year's event, which is actually one of the things that I love the most is like hearing about all the success stories of the people that went to that event and like how they were able to connect with people there and like start to, partner up on deals and how they were able to just kind of like bring it all together. So I'm really excited to see like the relationships that are going to be built this next year's event and what happens for those people going forward too.
Hell yeah. Hey, Mitch, we don't have you out there just as hey, I'm really rich. Like, here's a couple of things. We got you out here for a very specific reason. There's one thing that I found that millionaires need to level up, like rocket fuel, like the emotions. Like once you got emotions, you got knowledge, like there's a tool out there that exists. It's something called credit. Who's heard of this before? Who's heard of credit?
Sure. 1,000,000%, man. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that lead up. And I love the way that you're always able to kind of pitch and volley, and direct the conversation. Definitely at this event, that's one thing I want to share with a lot of people is, the power of credit, right? Like credit allows you to hire more people, how to scale up your business. It makes lenders more comfortable with you when you're trying to get refinancing or take down a deal. It makes investment partners more comfortable with you when you have this credit. I definitely wouldn't be able to do any of the things that I've been able to accomplish over the years without using credit. Half my businesses right now, if you took away my access to business credit, would literally shrivel up overnight, right? Like how hard would it be to scale up these companies without business credit? At this event, I definitely want to share a couple strategies with you, with all the members that are going, because again, like if you can get your hands on a couple $100,000 worth of business credit or just credit in general, that's going to change your life and your ability to invest. And like you said, that rocket fuel for you to kind of get to the next level. So I'm definitely excited for the event and being able to share that.
And so everybody knows Mitch is not just great at this. He's not just good at this. He actually earns $30,000 a year passively from a course that he built on this. His course is so good that he doesn't even teach it. He doesn't have to teach it in person. People pay for the recordings. SanScan, if you know, that's insane. They pay for the recordings. They love the recordings so much that he's actually been able to turn that into a passive business. And so he's going to be sharing the exact steps that people are getting so much value at, because it's not just people buying it. People are referring their friends to this course. They're sending people to it. It's something that it's an asset. So there's another component to Mitch's talk. And that component is doing a little bit of understanding beforehand, which we're doing actually this Monday at 6 p.m. Who here knows that there's a credit repair course happening this Monday at 6 p.m. for everybody in the mastery program? So that's something that we offered to everybody who was at Summit last year. We had a program called Alchemist Mastery, and we put it out available for everybody. And the idea was to really go deep with the community, make sure that everybody who paid for that program was getting a deeper kind of sense. And actually, we were talking about something last night, Mitch. I got to share this. I'm sure you know this. People don't appreciate what they don't pay for. Who's noticed that before? If you don't pay for it, you don't appreciate it, right? Your subconscious mind was handed to you for free, and you barely tap into it. Right? You're like, I've had it my whole life. I don't need this. But that's the most valuable thing that you have. And if you paid for it, you'd use it. And it's the same thing that we find in business. If you're working with a client you're working for free, you work the hardest on that free client, and the people who pay you appreciate you. They're the easiest to work with. They're very clear, they're simple, easy to work with. So last year we did sell Mastery as a way to move people forward, right? As a tool, as a resource to move people forward, and only choose people who had the money, had the resource to pay for that program. If they hadn't gotten to that level of income or credit in order to afford that program, now we're talking credit again, then they weren't ready to do the other things. Does that make sense? Right? Like that program is a barrier to entry to the bigger scale stuff. And credit was one of the tools that we offered. And I don't know where I would be without credit, Mitch. Like as much as like I didn't have it in the beginning, I don't want to go back to the beginning. I don't want to go back to the early days. Can you share some of the stuff you did without credit, and then why it's so much like it just makes so much sense to actually learn this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I first started off, I was in the Army, and I saw a lot of friends back then, leveraging credit and using it the wrong way. And I think they had a bad feeling when it came to credit. And I think some people out there still have that negative connotation when it comes to credit. But dude, when my vehicle broke down and I couldn't afford to fix it, and I had to get a loan to get it, like I was either without a vehicle or I had credit. Like I had one option or the other: no vehicle, or I had to get a credit card to be able to pay for it. Right? Like, having that emergency fund at the very least is something that's extremely, extremely powerful, right? It takes the edge off. But yeah, I mean, also the other thing I was going to say is you were talking about earlier, like investing in yourself is kind of like jewelry, right? Like if you have like a little quarter ring, right? Like just you go to like the quarter machine and you put a quarter in and you get one of those little tiny like rings and you put it on your finger. If you lose that ring, you don't really care about it, right? You don't care if you lost that ring or if it breaks. Like, okay, whatever, I'll go to the quarter machine and get another one. But if it costs you a lot of money, you're going to take care of that thing. And I think that's something you got to really do when it comes to your mind and your body. Like if you make those investments in yourself, you really take care of it, and it's going to nurture, it's going to grow. So yeah, there's definitely something to be said about, investing in yourself. I mean, you and I have spent, I mean, a lot of the coaches on here have probably spent over $100,000 on coaching and personal development and training, and people that have gym memberships, they understand this too, right? They're going to the gym every day and they're trying to tune up their body. Like, tune up your body, tune up your mind. And, those investments are definitely going to pay you the best dividends over your lifetime.
Let's give Mitch Durfee a big round of applause. And don't worry, if you don't have credit yet, that's our goal. We want to get you that credit. We want to show you the process. If you don't have business credit, that is really what Mitch is going to be talking about at the summit. There's going to be going deeper into the value of business credit versus personal credit. And that's just next level. Who here knows you got to get on the business credit train? Like, it's necessary. Absolutely. So that's one of the things we're going to be going deeper into that at the summit. We're going to make a little, we're not going to, I mean, there's only so much he can do in 30, 45 minutes, but what he's going to give you is a deep understanding of why it's so important, how to get there, and a pathway to take action to be able to get that credit built up for yourself. This Monday at 6 p.m. Dorina, can you drop the link? This Monday at 6 p.m., Mitch is going to be talking again about credit, some of the basics, the things you need to know to get your score right, the things you need to know and understand around credit, how it works, why it works, how it came into existence. And this information is kind of a prelude to what we're doing at the 100 Millionaires Summit. All of the stuff we're doing for the next 41 days is preparing you to be the absolute best at that moment. There are certain times in your life where decisions matter, right? When you wake up in the morning, you have a couple of decisions to make. But when it comes down to you are driving your car at 60 miles an hour, somebody hits the brakes in front of you, your instincts have to matter right in that moment. Ask Karen if you're familiar with what I'm talking about. In that moment, you must take right action. You have no other choice. The 100 Millionaire Summit is the same exact thing. It's 3 days, but they are the most powerful 3 days of the year. If you were to do the 80-20 and then do the 80-20 and do the 80-20, there's 365 days of the year. Well, the 100 Millionaire Summit is 80-20, 80-20, 80-20 of that. That means the 1%, the most important 3 days of your entire year, that your business is built in those 3 days. When I say business built, I mean it. I mean, we're putting your business plan together while we're there for 3 days straight, building it every day. We're stacking the business plan, including the partners who are going to get you there. Day 2, we're putting those partners together on your business plan. You'll have the right people, you have the right tools, you have the right mentors to get you to the next level. On day 3, we're going to provide accountability, the right accountability to get you through, because it's knowledge, it's network, and it's accountability. Those are the 3 steps to becoming millionaires. They don't need more than that. Those are the 3 requirements. So everything that we're doing the next 41 days is gearing you up. That's why we're doing the recession-proof challenge. That's why we're doing the jump start. That's why we're doing these workshops. We're putting a lot of effort into making sure that you are tuned up, prepared to take action. When you want to swerve out of the way, your vehicle knows how to move. Hand scan if you know you got the right vehicle. You are moving fast. Oh, yeah. Let's give Mitch Durfee a big round of applause for all the work he does in our community and his success, because if it wasn't for his experience, that he wouldn't be able to bring so much value. Same with Doug McGurk. Let's give our millionaire coaches a big round of applause for all of the work they do in their personal lives, their businesses, in communicating and serving this community and the other communities that they serve as well. Let's give Dorina, Amy, Andrew, our back end, Mark, Ron, everybody who's in the back end, my business partners, supporting us, helping everybody do what they do to your best. And I want to open it up to questions. So let's open up, bring everybody into the room. Even if you're not somebody who's in one of our programs, we're going to bring it in so you can ask questions. So this is a chance to unmute the mic and either give a share or ask either myself or one of the millionaire coaches a question. By the way, people who take action, AKA unmute the mic, are usually the first ones who get to go and say something. There'll only be 17 minutes of this because I do have to go spend some time with my family. And I want to make sure that we get whoever's the most serious about getting their questions answered. Go ahead. This is your chance.
I have a question.
Well,
Whoever went first. It's a tough one.
Yolanda or Chong?
I don't have a question, but I have a share always.
Bring it, Julie.
Because of this community, I've been experiencing the opportunity to flip. And while I was sitting here, my agent just texted me and said, we got an offer. So I just wanted to share that on my first flip. It took a long time, lots of road, bumps in the road that I wouldn't even mind sharing with you guys to help, inspire people to just go do it. Doesn't matter. Get it done. Thank
Julie,
you to the community.
Let's give Julie a big round of applause. Julie, can we ask you to do a video on Facebook, just sharing the process, like what's the good, the bad of this flip? Awesome. Let's give Julie a big round of applause. Yolanda and then Chong. That's kind of the order. I see you on the screen of green lights going on. So Yolanda, you're up.
Congrats, my cousin Julie. She's doing awesome. Of course, she is my inspiration. And I also wanted to say, just to share that I've been working with Andrew brainstorming and Blake. He's awesome. Had a 3-hour conversation with Blake earlier this week. He has a useful amount of information that's very beneficial, but I'm definitely looking forward to finding a private lender to move forward and be able to put in offers, because I have talking to Andrew about that just yesterday. And that's where I'm a little stuck at. So
awesome. Yolanda,
trying to work on things.
we actually own our own lending company now. It's called Alchemist Financial. You can go to alchemistfinancial.com, or you can shoot Frank Montero in the community a message on either Alchemist Nation or on the Facebook group. But yeah, we can do all the private lending. We got you. That was one of the challenges that we had earlier in our investment career was, finding the money. So we ended up finding, like, Frank went out and he found all these different underwriters. We have over 75 underwriters. So any deal, you name it, we can find a way to finance it.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much for that information and that support. I love you guys both. I can't wait for the Millionaire Challenge, the Millionaire Recession. No,
Cannot
the Millionaire
wait.
Summit. And next
100 Millionaires Summit. Yeah. We
100
crushed the
Millionaire
recession
Summit
proof
is
challenge on
Yeah,
our
we
way
were
to be
to the-
millionaires.
Yeah.
And we go to the 100 Millionaires Summit to meet all the millionaires.
Got a lot going on and it's awesome. I'm so happy to be a part of the community, and thank you to my cousin Julie for introducing me to all of you guys. You guys are best.
Hey, when you have a choice, always work with the best. Let's give Yolanda a big round of applause. Chong, you're up, brother.
Hey, I feel so blessed to be part of this community. When I coach people and they say, hey, I want to be like stupid fast or professional, they don't know how much work it takes. And what I see here is you've done pretty much all the hard work. People just got to show up and just do it. The resources are there, the people's there, the energy, the culture's there. So my goal is, when I'm in Florida, I'm gonna try to take a picture with everybody on your panel and try to go out to lunch or whatever with a couple of you folks, because I need to start getting more in your inner circle. I'm not a millionaire yet, so I can't pay for the VIP and the executive whatever, but once I get them, I'm gonna pay it back, pay it forward. But I'm gonna be very intentional about everything I do here up to that point, so I can get closer with you guys.
Let's give Chong a big round of applause. For everybody who doesn't know, he has a tech background. He's been diving into Alchemist Connect. He's been crushing it in the Recession Proof Challenge. He's been very vocal. He's like Blake and Eric, where he jumps in, has the conversation. Yolanda has the conversation in all the work that we're doing together on these calls. Matt Bierce jumps in, is super interactive. And like what I found with Chong is his mindset is just give me the information, I will take the action. He's got this kind of commitment. Same with Deborah Felder, another person who really interacts on the calls. Like, he's got this mindset of whatever you say, if it's proven, if you're saying it's proven, you've already done the testing, I'm going to take that and I'm going to go and do some action. And then he gets his own, valued feedback from the action he's taking. And that is exactly the secret to everybody in this community, the alchemists that are here that are really crushing it, is that they understand the value of doing. They understand the value of action. They understand the value of connecting with each other. Did you hear what he said? He said, at the summit, I'm going to connect with absolutely everybody whose face I see on this panel. One more awareness that your face being on these screens during these calls is what separates this group from other groups. I can't tell you how many Zoom calls I've been on where no faces are on. Right? Who here's been on a Zoom call where everybody's camera's turned off? Right? After one of these calls, they're embarrassing, right? It's like, oh my God, like, who are these losers? What are they doing? Like, turn your camera on, right? Why are we even on this call if we can't see each other, right? You can just call me traditionally. There's no reason for us to, be on a Zoom unless we're going to be seeing each other, unless we're going to be doing stuff. For everybody who's got their cameras turned off right now, who's on appointments, who's out there having conversations with their clients, who are doing things, I get it. We see you, recognize. But for the people who do show up, you get memorized, you get seen. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're branding yourself within this community as leaders, as people that others can go and connect with. And Chong, we see you, brother. We see your success. We see what you're doing. And like I said the other day, love to collaborate as you get deeper into Alchemist Connect and you're playing with the workflows. I want to collaborate and see what you come up with, because we're going to be able to pass that along to the rest of our community. I see Heidi Rain just jumped in. Hands to camera if you know Heidi is going to help you stop the self-sabotage. Right? Who here knows they self-sabotage now and then? Maybe are the cause of their own maybe lack of success. It could be within. So she's going to help us out with that. Brian, I saw your hand go up, brother. You got a question specifically for Heidi?
Well, no, it's more towards Mitch. On
Okay.
sorry, the importance of protecting our credit. I mean, I know I go bend over backwards to make sure I make my payments, so I don't have a late payment on anything ever, whether it's selling anything. I get rid of stuff. It generates a lot of stress because I'm afraid to I don't want to ever have a late payment or lower my credit score. am I like doing that self to myself unnecessarily, or if you have a blemish here and there, it's okay and it can be fixed?
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're making those minimum payments at the very least, because late payments can stay on your credit report for up to 7 years. So it's definitely important to stay focused on that. I mean, one of the other options is doing a balance transfer, right? If you need to move it around, but definitely make sure you're making those minimum payments.
Yeah, so I know I rearranged my life to make sure I never ruin my credit score.
Yeah, auto payments help. Set up auto payments for the minimum payment just to keep that thing going.
Let's give Brian and Mitch a big round of applause. I agree the 110,000 times percent. I've never, ever missed a payment. I've been broke. I've had minimum payments of $4,000 a month, but I've always hit those minimum payments. And it has been, who here has ever had, minimum payments over $1,000? Anybody? Anybody over $2,000? Over $3,000? I'll tell you, when they break that $4,000 mark, that is an intimidating place in life, and you realize you might have made some mistakes. So there is no job on the planet that is going to pay down $4,000 a month in credit card debt and your living expenses. So that was, for me, a point where I realized I've got to change the way I earn money. I've got to go after some bigger deals. I got to do some bigger things. Self-sabotage, though, going back to that. Who here's, again, identify that maybe it's something that exists within our own minds, that like something up here is actually what's stopping our success? So when we brought Heidi in to speak at the summit last year, I knew she was good, right? But I knew she was great because obviously I trust Doug's opinion. I've seen a couple of her YouTube videos and I was like, this woman knows how to talk. She knows how to speak. She knows how to speak to your heart, to your mind, to like make the connections. When I saw her at the summit, and even after the summit, because I get all the footage, I get to watch all the footage again. And as I watch through some of the things that she says and does, and the way her inflections, her tones, that really can help you connect with your own internal emotions, just like Doug has that ability. But Heidi does it in a way that really, in a short period of time, she's able to help you like snap out and realize, oh my God, that's my fault. And oh my God, it's okay. It's time for me to change. Like, here's how I make these changes. So Heidi, I know we only have a few minutes, but I see you on the camera, and so I have to take the advantage of the fact that you're here with us. So let's give Heidi Rain a big round of applause. Heidi, what is it that you think like causes, I know it's a deep question. Let me simplify this. What do you think causes a person to allow self-sabotage to go on through their lives when they obviously know it's happening?
I don't think they know what's happening. I don't think they're not calling it self-sabotage, or if they are, there's an element of, it's such an esoteric concept that people don't understand, like that you can break it down and understand exactly how you're doing it. So they either just don't know they're doing it, or they throw up their hands and they're like, well, I guess it's just the way that it is. It's just the way that I am. And so once they understand, it's very easy to figure out exactly the belief or the program that was installed in us at a very early age that is causing this self-sabotage loop. Once we understand that, you can only solve a problem to the level you understand it, period. If you don't, like, a doctor can only solve a problem if he properly diagnoses what that issue is. If you go to the doctor and you have a cough and he says, you have a cold, but you have cancer, you're in trouble, right? So when I work with people, it's about really not a Band-Aid on a flesh wound, like a positive affirmation, like positively affirm your way into health and healing. It's ripping up the root lie. And so people are unconscious of what that root lie is. So they're just on autopilot. So my gift in the world is to be able to see that in people. I have that gift of discernment to be able to know and pinpoint, okay, this is exactly where you're stuck and where you're holding yourself back, and then systematically uproot that lie, one question, one intervention personally at a time. And so that people are really set free psychologically, emotionally, and financially, because the lie lives in every area of our lives, not just in one place. It shows up everywhere. So I think they don't know they have it, or they don't know how to get rid of it.
I love that. I love that answer. Let's give Heidi a big round of applause. Who's excited to have some of those lies revealed? We're not afraid of it. We're ready, and we're excited to have some of those lies revealed, to get some opportunities. The 100 Millionaires Summit this year was designed for you. It was designed in a lot of ways by you, because every one of us who will be speaking at the stage was right where you're at today. We were there at some point, and most of you have filled out our surveys. We're sending out a survey again this week. It's a different survey. It's going to have a little bit more detail that I'm requiring so that I have one talk that's very, very specialized. It's very unique to this room. And so this survey is going to give us a lot more. I just want to make sure that's done right. Hence, if you understand, like the more information I have from you, the easier it is for me to provide the right information to our coaches. So as we're going through the room, we know who we're speaking to. Because if we were having a conversation with a bunch of football players, I guarantee you we'd have a lot of different conversations. Hence, if you recognize we're making money. We're making money moves, not football moves, right? So we're having a conversation with entrepreneurs, with real estate investors, with business owners and people who are still employed looking to get out of their jobs. So these little surveys are going to give us a little bit more detail on what to be talking about, how to have those conversations. If you're really looking to serve your clients, ask them questions. And if you're not sure whether you're serving your clients properly, ask them questions. And if you don't have any clients, start asking everybody questions until you can identify who your clients should be. This makes sense? Ask questions. There is no dumb question other than the one that's not asked. The most dangerous question is the one you don't ask. If you have a question, get it out there. Find out. If you don't know who to talk to, ask who to talk to. If you don't know who has the answer, find out by asking. If you don't know what to do next, ask somebody who's done it before. Hence, can't recognize this is the secret to success. Ask. One of my friends, actually, I think he's the greatest author of all time. His name is Mark Victor Hansen, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. Who knows who that is? Mark Victor Hansen. So Mark was on my podcast a while back promoting his book, Ask. And that was literally the name of the book. And that was the principle of the book. Just ask. Whatever you want in life, it's great to think it. That thinking is great, and you should think, and you have to think in order to ask. But once you've thought, you've got to open your mouth and say, hey, this is what I want to create. Who's down to go with me? Right? We're on a mission to build 100 millionaires. We're inspired to build 100 millionaires. The only way we're going to do that is for you to decide to become a millionaire and to make that commitment to, hey, once you get yours, be willing to give somebody else that same understanding, the empathy, the knowledge, and maybe that friendship that does help build millionaires. Knowledge alone will not do it. Knowledge alone cannot build millionaires. People have to get past the emotions. They have to feel like they're not alone in this. They have to feel like somebody else is there with them, caring about them, taking them along the way. And if you can establish that in yourself, then you can establish it in others. I appreciate each and every one of you, your commitment to yourself, this community, to your success, your family, and to make it a little more money this year. Remember, the point is not to work, it's to generate income. Each one of you is doing it in your own way. Also, I want to say, be patient with the process. Some of you get a little hard on yourselves. Look, yes, go hard. I want you to do the best you possibly can every day. Absolutely, yes. But don't try to do tomorrow's work today. Tomorrow will be there. And do tomorrow's work the right way, the best way that you possibly can. And if you make some mistakes, reach out to somebody in the community. We're here to support you. We want to see you get to the next level. So cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. Let's give our coaches one big round of applause as we log off. I appreciate and I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to serve. I'll see you on the Recession Proof Challenge at 1 o'clock. Cheers.
Done.